Oh, I'm streaming. I'm Jessica, and I'm super happy to be here to share some of my experience with you guys. Just a couple of words about me. I have a technical background. I studied computer science. I work as a developer for 1.5 months, and then I switched to marketing. I'm still not sure if I was a bad developer or a good marketer, but I think I did the right choice, and I really enjoy what I'm doing. Today, I'm gonna talk to you about what we do at my current company, Blinkies. There, I lead the performance marketing team. Blinkies, what we do, we condense the best no-fiction books out there into a bite-sized content that you can read or listen to in just 15 minutes. Why do we do that? I guess all of you probably are super busy, but maybe you love to read and you don't have time. With Blinkies, with the Blinkies app, the idea is that you can read 4 books a day or even more. So that's the Blinkies app. Actually, you can see you have a discovery page where you can find new books about all different topics and categories. You can listen to the books. This is really useful, especially for learning on the go. So if you commute every day, I suggest you to download the app. And finally, we have curated lists by influencers. The purpose that we have is to inspire people to keep learning every day. Now, what I want to share today is my story. I joined Blinkies in February, so 10 months ago. They gave me an amazing product. They gave me a budget, of course, goal and KPI, and they told me, okay, now do it. And that's when I realized that I had an issue that I've never had in the real life. I really don't know what to do with this money. What am I gonna do? What am I going to invest? And I want to guide you through the 3 steps that we did in order to make it happen. Analyze, prioritize, and scale. So how to evaluate new marketing channels. The first part is analyze. Analyze is the most important part. So when I joined Blinkies, first of all, I tried to understand the product. Blinkies is a product that is completely new. We have no competitors, and sometimes it's hard to explain. So I took some time just to use it and get familiar with it. The second thing is to understand your audience. If you want to advertise, then you need to know who you're talking to. Why do they use the app? What are the issues that they are trying to solve? How we did that, we worked together with an external agency that through survey and interviews with our users, they came up with the 5 different personas. And I'm going to share with you the 2 main personas that we have. We cut it down to 2 because it was too much to advertise like 5 different kind of people. We have the knowledge hunter. Probably, I can see a lot of knowledge hunters here actually in this room. You have no time. You want to keep learning. You want to revisit and refresh books that you've read in the past. And then we have the genuine explorer. The time is not the key, but they want to explore new books, they want to revisit and refresh books that they've read in the past and they enjoy reading. When you understand who are you talking to, then you can define the message that you can use. The third step is to understand the market. In our case, we have 2 main languages, English, that open up all the market, and German as well. Our main markets are US and then all the German-speaking countries. What we did is an analysis on the market to understand which countries are more open to no-fiction books, for example, and US is one of them. And to do that, you can use, a tool like App Annie, for example. Another important thing is to understand the funnel. We talked about that before. Have in mind the user journey. For us, what happened is that whenever you join the app, first of all, you can sign up online on web, or you can install the app, but of course, we are mainly a mobile app. When you join, you have 3 days for free, where you can use the app, and then you have to pay, of course. That's how they pay my salary. You can choose subscription, but before purchasing, you can do a lot of action. You can use the discovery page, you can add in books in the library, you can start reading a book, finishing a book, or listening a book. So you have a lot of different steps in the funnel. And the last thing, my favorite one, is analyze your data. So when I joined Blinkies, this is like a 4-year-old company, so I had a bunch of data that I could look at. Sometimes the issue is that you are a little bit lost in the data, so you also need to keep the focus. Otherwise, you're going to spend 8 months just doing that. I was also lucky because they experience a lot of different channels, so I could take a look at the historical data and have an idea of the cost per install or how scalable is the channel and so on. Then we go to the next part. So the problem is that whenever you want to define what you want to do as a next step, there are so many platforms out there, so many ad networks that promise you, they will give you like everything, they will give you like customers, and they are scalable. And it's really hard to decide. So how do you evaluate the next channels that you want to crack? That's it. So first of all, you evaluate and rate the channels. How do you do that? I can share what we did. We take in consideration a couple of channels. We already picked the one that we thought that were the most successful. And we analyzed the potential of the channel. So how many users can you reach for the channel? The scalability, so is a channel that you can scale, it can be part of your media marketing mix. How hard it is to crack this channel. What is the product fit? So does it make sense to advertise within the channel? And finally, how many resources do you need in order to really crack this channel? Of course, to come up with this list, either you are an expert on that, or you talk with an agency, or maybe you hire an external consultant. I'm a huge fan of that. And you try to understand like what does it mean to crack the channel. This is just an example. What I want to show you here, that these are a couple of channels that we considered. The product fit is really, really important. For example, like for Blinkies, let's say the people are not looking for us because this is a completely new product. But when they found us, they're like, wow, that's amazing. So we do upselling rather than PPC. That's why for us, AdWords is not working so much. Actually, we launched Google Apple search ads recently. The ROI is amazing, but we spent 20 euros in 2 months. So it's really hard to position it ourselves. Other companies, like for example, Outbrain, they're focused on content. That the content is like the main thing that we're doing. It makes much more sense for us. So whenever you have this list, that should be much longer than that. How do you pick the right channels? You use what you did before, so you're trying to understand where you should focus on. You pick your fights. Don't advertise everywhere. Just pick the main one. Think about the long-term strategy. So I think that the scalability is one of the most important features, probably. Think that you have limited resources. So build a timeline based on the resources that you have. And the gut feeling. Actually, we talked about that before. Don't trust it. I really trust the gut feeling. And that's exactly why we decided to focus on Outbrain. Because we are a content company, and it makes much more sense Outbrain than Facebook, even if it's harder to crack. And finally, develop your testing framework. Once you decide which channels you want to crack, then allocate the right resources, allocate a project manager or a channel manager that will be on the driving seat for the project. Define the KPI that you want to achieve, a timeline, so you cannot say, oh, let's test it for a couple of months. Define like a clear timeline when you will go into the data and check the results. Visualize the data. Sometimes you don't want to spend your entire time just checking the data or using Excel, so find a good way to visualize the data. And follow a convention. We always have more or less the same steps whenever we want to enter in a new channel. We use the same, for example, experiment, naming convention, or the same naming convention for the campaign. You can see one on the right, so that everyone is aligned and everything is clear. Then you have the final part. So you test it, you find what is working for you, and now you need to scale. So you just put more money on it, right? But that's not working, of course. It doesn't work. That's exactly what we did back in July. We wanted to scale Facebook. We just tried to put more money on it, but it was not working because the performances started to go down. So what do you do when this happens, and how do you scale your channel? The answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything is data. Douglas Adams probably hates me for this slide. But I think it's beautiful. So we took a lot of time to go into the data, trying to analyze what happened and why we were not able to be profitable. Some other suggestions: improve the processes and the structure. We figured out that we were looking at the wrong data. We were spending too much time just running reports. What we did, we tried to look at the aggregated data, for example, for age set, for gender, for countries, and trying to understand where the problem was. Tailor and test your message. We were trying to approach Facebook or even Outbrain, just like going out with the same message for all the users. This doesn't make sense. And the creatives are one of the most important things that you have. You can actually reduce the prices of a CPM or a cost per install just changing your creatives. So we spend a lot of time doing that. And these are some of the creatives that we have been using for Outbrain. In case you don't know what paid content distribution is, these are suggested articles through the Outbrain network, and we use them to entertain new users and hopefully, purchasing. I don't know, I'm not sure. But for sure, signing up, trying the Blinkies app, and then finally purchasing. Expand your audience. So maybe simply your market is saturated, so you need to go beyond that. If you're doing Facebook, maybe you need to stop doing just lookalike campaigns and crack the interest targeting. Maybe you want to expand to a new market. That's up to you, but just try to go beyond your comfort zone. Also try to experiment with the funnel. So don't look just at the channel that you're currently managing, but trying to see the interaction between all the different channels that you have. I give you an example. When we did this huge analysis, we decided to stop all our investments in the students' age set, 18 to 24. Why? Because students actually, they love the app, they like the app, they use the app, but they don't buy. So all the campaigns, they had a really, really bad ROI. What we did in September for the back to school, we tried to remarket this user through Facebook. So we continue to acquire users in US. We remarket them with a specific remarketing Facebook campaign that was talking to users and offering them a specific discount. And this leads to a plus 7% increase in conversion rates. Conversion, I mean purchase rate. Another test that we are currently doing, on the left you can see one of our Outbrain landing pages, and on the right you can see our CRM campaigns. What we did, we tried to customize the onboarding email for these users, trying to practically challenge them to read more, so on a reading challenge. And in the email, as you can see, we also mentioned exactly the article that we have on the right. So, user recognize how they arrived to Blinkies, and they are more interested in that because simply they are used to that page, to that message. And actually, we doubled the open rate. We are going to see if it also means to double the purchase rate. We hope for that. And finally, the power of automation. We talked about that before. I'm a huge fan of automation in general. What we did in our case, first of all, we use a tool called Periscope Data in order to build our dashboard. Practically, you can build a dashboard really in 5 minutes just using SQL queries. And this is super useful. For our Facebook campaign, we use Facebook Partner Tool. At the moment, we're using two of them. One is AdForus, and the other one is Smartly. AdForus has an amazing algorithm called Marvin to optimize their campaigns, and it's like an algorithm that acts over the Facebook algorithm. We're also using Smartly because it seems more powerful at the moment, and you can build all your rules for automation. So that's really great. But now probably you're asking yourself if all this stuff worked for us. Actually, it worked. As you can see, I joined the company in February, really bad. There was a decrease, but then it took a couple of months just to learn and just to understand what we should have focused on. And then on June and July and August, we started to apply all the learnings that we got from the data. We were able to improve 50% month over month in this summer month, so that's really great. And we also improve our ROI. So when I look at this, I'm really proud of what we've done, and I realize that really we can do even better. So as you can see, even in November, we were able to grow 44% as well. So I'm looking forward for the next challenges. The final takeaway that I have for you is this. Whenever you have a budget, the budget is never wasted if you're learning something. It took us 6 months in order to learn how to scale, or for Outbrain to learn which kind of content we could use. But during these months, we had so many learnings that we can apply for next year that it totally made the effort. So that's my final takeaway. Thank you, guys.